I still don't know whether my dad actually stole almost $50,000 from his job or if someone spent months making sure it looked like he did. The whole thing started because he came home 3 hours late one Friday carrying a cardboard box with everything from his office. He didn't say a word during dinner. My mom finally asked what happened, and he quietly said he'd been suspended while the company investigated missing money. I honestly laughed because my dad was the cheapest person I'd ever met. He reused paper towels, drove the same beat-up truck for over 15 years, and argued with cashiers over being charged an extra quarter. Stealing that kind of money didn't even make sense. The next morning, 2 investigators showed up at our house asking to search his home office. They weren't rude, but the way they looked through every drawer made it feel like they'd already decided he was guilty. They left empty-handed, but that didn't seem to matter. By Monday, half our relatives had already heard about it. Some stopped answering my mom's calls completely. My dad barely left his bedroom after that. A week later, the company officially fired him and reported everything to the police. They claimed someone had been approving fake vendor payments for nearly a year using his employee account. My dad kept saying someone had to be using his login, but nobody believed him because every approval came from his credentials. Even I started wondering if there was something he wasn't telling us. Then something happened that didn't make any sense. While helping my mom clean the garage, I found my dad's old work laptop buried inside a storage bin. He said he'd turned that laptop in almost 8 months earlier after getting a replacement. We both stared at it for a second because the company insisted every fraudulent payment came from that exact device. My dad immediately called the investigator handling the case. At first he thought we were lying until we gave him the serial number printed on the bottom. The silence on the other end lasted so long I thought the call had dropped. 2 days later, detectives came back, but this time they weren't searching our house. They picked up the laptop instead. About 3 weeks passed without any updates, and then one afternoon my dad got another call asking him to come downtown. He thought he was finally being arrested. Instead, they sat him in a conference room and apologized. The laptop still contained remote access software that automatically connected whenever it touched the internet. Someone had secretly been controlling it for months after it was supposedly returned to the company. The login records everyone trusted only showed my dad's account because the remote sessions used his saved credentials. Investigators traced the connections back to another employee in the accounting department. He'd stolen well over $200,000 by routing payments through fake companies and intentionally using my dad's account because everyone knew my dad wasn't good with computers. The employee had even volunteered to collect old company laptops whenever people upgraded, giving him the perfect chance to keep one without anyone noticing. My dad got his job back, but he turned it down because he said he could never work somewhere that assumed he was guilty before checking whether they even had the right computer. The accounting employee ended up pleading guilty months later, and the weirdest part is that if I hadn't been looking for a socket wrench in the garage that afternoon, my dad probably would have spent the rest of his life being remembered as the guy who stole money he never even touched.